Yo, what up, creators? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Creative Ryan. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I make videos about filmmaking, music videos, photography, creating in general. I got this water in my phone. I got all types of stuff. Water. Today we're gonna be talking about 3 mistakes I made as a beginner creator. I made some mistakes and I learned from them, and looking back now, I would have never did that if I knew what I know now then. There is like construction outside. My window's open. Let me shut it. All right, first things first, I almost broke my fingernail. Buying cheap gear. That was one of my biggest mistakes. In my personal opinion, buying cheap gear rather than saving my money and buying the nice piece of gear, the good quality piece of gear. I think if you look at it as a bigger picture rather than the smaller picture, it's way more important to save your money up and buy that nice, expensive piece of gear. Not saying that some cheap gear isn't pretty good quality. You got to judge that on your own opinion. But for the most part, things that cost more are typically built a little bit better. This is my opinion, of course, but looking back on a lot of things that I bought that was cheap, broke easy, and I got way better shots or way better quality, like stabilizers, just way better quality out of the things that I bought later down the road that were the more expensive pieces of gear. For instance, I always wanted a glide cam, and my best friend YC got a glide cam. I didn't have the money to buy a glide cam back then. At that time, I wasn't really balling like that, so I bought a cheaper stabilizer. I think it was called a U-Fly cam, a U-Fly stabilizer, something like that. It was shaped really funny, like down a circle, half a circle. It was mad weird looking. It was stupid. I could never balance my camera on that thing, and even when I did get it somewhat balanced, the shots were so rocky and stupid looking. It was about half the price of a glide cam at the time, but it was also a complete piece of shit. I would always ask YC to borrow his glide cam, and it would be so much easier stabilizing it or getting it balanced, and the shots would look so much better, so much butter. It would look great. So personally, that's one mistake that I made as a creator starting out. So the second mistake that I made when I started as a creator was I always used to shoot stuff on auto. Terrible decision. Now looking forward, manual settings are so much better than letting your camera guess the auto settings. Unless of course one exception. I do use auto ISO when I'm vlogging, and that's because I don't care if it gets like messed up or not, because it's just a vlog. Now if we're talking about a commercial or a music video or something special, a special project, a piece of brand content, I'm typically shooting manual settings. It's very unlikely that I'll be shooting auto on like the exposure settings, shutter, aperture, or ISO. So that was a big mistake that I made back in the day, you know, shooting stuff on auto, you know, manual gang. I know that used to be like a meme and a joke and stuff. It probably still is. If you are shooting auto, my advice to you is try to learn your manual settings. I have a video on manual settings. I'll try to link it up here above in a one of those little card thingies, and you can go check it out. It's about the exposure triangle, learning shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. If you don't know it, go try to learn it. Try to learn manual settings and do it yourself. Don't let your camera guess for you, unless of course you're vlogging and you just don't care. So the third mistake that I believe that I made, I would have to say, is I didn't understand lenses and the millimeters and the aperture on lenses. This was a big thing for me because my boy YC, he was like ahead of the curve, and he kind of understood what focal lengths did what kinda and what aperture was, and I was kind of slow with learning how the aperture worked and how to balance like ISO and aperture, shutter speed, whatever. I didn't really understand lenses. So it's very important to understand what focal lengths on specific lenses do for the shot that you're trying to get. If you're trying to get a more cinematic shot, I think that a 35mm and up, more close and punched in, is much more cinematic than say like a 16mm. I mean, there are shots in some movies that are wide like that 16mm and they look good, but I think 35mm and up is real more cinematic. You know, when you're vlogging, you want to have more wide so people feel like they're right up there with you, right there while you're talking. It just feels more natural, like somebody's right there. If it's zoomed into your face, it just doesn't look like, you don't feel like you're there with that person. It's weird. All right, what up, man? This is me trying to vlog on a 50mm. You can't vlog like this. You have to have something wide like this. Like this. See, this is what I'm talking about. Super wide. You feel like you're up and close with me, you're talking with me, you're right here with me. This is how it would feel if you were standing next to me and just listening to me. So I'm talking to you right now. It just seems more natural as opposed to that 50 all up in my teeth looking at what I ate for dinner earlier. Understanding your focal lengths is super important. This was a huge mistake that I made when I started out. Certain focal lengths, you know, can tell stories differently. So yeah, that's important, man. If you don't know it, then you should learn it. But it took me a while as well. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I think that, you know, I made as a starting creator. Not researching and learning the focal lengths and, you know, what focal length is better for what when it comes to making a project. So this was a quick one, guys. I just wanted to kind of touch on 3 mistakes that I made when I first started out. Maybe there's something in there that you can relate to. Maybe you got some insight from this, or I don't know, maybe you just came here to see what the new video was about and just see the quality of it and how cool it is and see, you know, how I look and make sure I'm doing okay and, you know, just have a couple minutes of coolness in your eyeballs. Yeah, so if you're making any of those mistakes, man, I would consider, you know, trying to fix those. You know, maybe not buy the cheap gear. Maybe if you got $800 and you need something that's $1,000, just save your money and wait a little longer and get that $1,000 piece of gear. Or maybe you don't shoot manual, you shoot auto everything, and it's messing up the quality of your projects. Or maybe you don't know what focal lengths do what for your project. Maybe you need to learn more about your lenses. I don't know. These are 3 mistakes that I think were very major when it came to, you know, me starting out as a creator. So maybe they could help you out. I don't know, man. That's gonna be it for the video today, guys. If you're new here, consider subscribing, slap that like button if you got something, at least something out of this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. That's right, I will see you guys in the next video. You know, I gotta get back to editing right now. So, peace!